Hello and welcome once again to Ignite Your Impact. My name is Jen Rhodes. I am seated next to the fully hydrated Matt Rhodes.
Yeah. I thought I was hydrated. I just took a big old drink.
Well, that and I decided I was just going to cough a lot right as we hit record.
We're going now though.
We are set. Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year.
I am still, nursing is a bad word, pushing through my knee. So top up, I look like a fully capable adult. Top down, there's a lot of ice.
For those of you who don't know, she just had knee surgery. Yeah.
But everything's great. Everything's clean. I am ready to get back to my Bulgarian split squats and get quadzillas capable of crushing all of the watermelons. And that's not a metaphor either. That's what I'm going for.
That's your goal in 2024?
Yeah.
There you go.
I told you I want to crush a watermelon with looking you in the eye, full eye contact.
I'm not even looking. If you're on YouTube right now, you'll notice I am not looking at her right now. Let's jump in though.
What?
Before we go any further.
Fine. Enjoy the visual, guys. I want to talk about today's topic. Today is titled Where Winners Look. This is such a great time of year specifically for how we're going to talk about this topic because it's top of brain, right? New Year's resolutions. It's January. We are literally recording this on New Year's Day.
Yep. Drops on the 8th.
Let's go.
But where we're going, where winners look with people setting goals, this is really going to help. This is a different take on what everyone else is talking about right now.
I agree.
And it is a perfect time because of like you said, where everyone's at today and for the type of person that listens to this podcast.
100%. Right now, there are a lot of people focused on goals. Some of you, it may be your fitness. Some of it may be in your finances or maybe your relationships. Maybe it's all of that plus more.
For me, it's all of them.
Amen.
Yep.
Amen. Me too. As you are focused on all the different areas you can focus on, I saw, who is it that I follow on Instagram? Ryan Flint. Ryan Flint.
Yeah. Real estate.
Yeah. Listed,
not just real estate.
Not just real estate.
Yeah.
Hashtag mogul. Hashtag goals. Lists out, I want to say there's 10 areas that he puts goals in and puts it in a spreadsheet. It's just really right up your alley with the spreadsheet. But as you are focused on these different areas, maybe you have goals in, maybe you have aspirations in, you're thinking of what you have done or not done previously. You also look at what you're doing now, and hopefully, if you listen to us long enough, you're even picturing what's in the future.
Yeah, all good stuff. I mean, and that's all necessary. And we want to dig into each of the areas a little bit and then highlight where, like we said, where winners look. Spoiler, it's in 3 different areas. Past, present, and future. However, massively successful people look at them very differently than people who are not massively successful. And that's what we're going to roll through today.
And I like that because this can go 2 different ways as well. If you're looking at goals, you could also be just looking at analyzing past successes or failures.
Yep.
As you're looking at your goals, let's start with looking in the rear. Not literally. Sorry. As we start, let's look at what happened in the past. What past experiences are leading us to our current behaviors and or beliefs? If you are trying to hit a goal or move the rock, as some might say, you will typically look to your past to see what worked, what hasn't worked, what you can learn from both that can help you move forward. It's pretty straightforward when you say it like that, right?
Yeah.
What worked, what didn't work? I don't know. Let's spend some time and think about it. But when you stop, when you truly stop and look at the way you are thinking about it, you will notice something. If you're not succeeding in something, it's because you're looking too much in the past. You've all heard it before. There's a reason the rearview mirror is smaller than the windshield, right? It's a metaphor, but man, it makes sense. There's a reason that a runner will not run a race looking behind their shoulder. What's going to happen? You're going to trip. Pure and simple. You have to focus on the future. You have to focus on what's ahead of you. But I want to break this down even more on how this affects you and how you can tell if you're doing it without knowing you're doing it. That's also important. Now, first, if you are getting the same or similar result over and over and over, I don't know why I keep doing this to myself. I don't know why I keep putting the last 10 back on. I just did this. If you are getting the similar result over and over and over again, I promise you, you are doing this.
Without even knowing it.
I promise you.
Yep.
The beauty of it is you've programmed yourself to do it. No matter where you're at right now, I want you to stop, unless you're driving. Whether you're walking the dog, if you're in the gym, if you're watching us on YouTube, I want you to listen very closely to this. And why? Because I see far too many people fall into this trap. But why they do, it's not super easy to understand.
No.
It's not easy to break the cycle unless you have studied it like we have, which is why I want to break it fully down. And as I do it, I want you to just listen really close. I want you to be aware of your own patterns and behaviors because it is deep-rooted, so far deep-rooted that you don't realize you're doing it. Your conscious mind, the things you are aware of, you know the thing that you are very aware of. What it not only does is thinks forward to what you want, but it also thinks back to all of the past experiences and obstacles and hurdles that you need to look out for. Like the analogy of, don't think of a pink elephant wearing a tutu underneath a palm tree, or as a ball is hurling towards a child in center field, don't drop the ball. What's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to drop it. So you have literally programmed yourself to not only go for the goal, but also watch out there for that. Don't drop that. Don't do that again. Your subconscious mind is doing the exact same thing. And then it is literally projecting that into your actions. Don't drop the ball. Don't fall down. Clunk. There is a lot of woo in that statement. But what does it even mean? It means even if the past situation or result is not what you want, it's actually comfortable. It may not be comfortable in the outside world. It may not be comfortable in your conscious mind. But in the subconscious, it is controllable. It's already solved the Rubik's Cube once.
Good or bad, it has.
It already knows how to fix it again. And so it gets lazy. And it knows all the potential outcomes. It already knows. You've already solved this once before. We know how to do this again. Why are you bugging me with this, lady? You've done it before. You made through it. Like you got to the goal. Good, bad, or indifferent. But in your subconscious mind, it is actually a very safe place because you've already closed the loop. You've already lived through it once. Notice I said loop. Therefore, your actions are unconsciously going to keep putting you in this loop because it's controllable. It's going to keep putting you on the same road with the same decision tree because it already knows how to solve it. The subconscious mind is pretty lazy. It is the safest place for your subconscious mind, even though consciously you may not like it. So I don't know why I keep doing it to myself. Well, because you programmed yourself, ding dong. No, I'm just kidding. You're not a ding dong. We're all very smart people. But for those that get a different result, spend time looking at the situation to learn from it, but spend little time after that consciously and unconsciously studying it.
So that was a lot right out of the gate.
Yeah, Jen came out swinging.
I'm guessing there are going to be a lot of people hitting rewind and going back to listen to that again because that was a lot. That was great. Pretty amazing stuff there. So what do you do to combat human nature? Because that's human nature. You know, Jen talks about whether the result's good or bad, you've lived through it and your unconscious is lazy and it's just going to keep putting you in that same loop. You're going to keep getting into bad relationships. You're going to keep spending money foolishly. You're going to keep putting back on that 10 pounds, whatever it is. And it just keeps happening over and over and over, and you can't figure it out why. Well, how do you combat human nature? So to control this unconscious, these thoughts, you have to build a strong present and a strong future. So let's jump into the future. Jen kind of mentioned that already, the windshield. This is where winners spend time writing out their goals. This is where they look at the tactics. They're envisioning those goals. How do they get there? And if you need help on this, just go back to I think it was our previous episode. We really dug into this. And I don't want to rehash what looking at the windshield is, but looking in the future and doing all that planning. That's where time is spent there to build that strong future. And why are we building the strong future? So we break those unconscious habits from the past. Essentially, building this future is where you're dreaming. This is where you're looking into the future. This is where you're picturing a perfect day. This is where you can smell it, you can feel it, you can hear it, you can taste it. All those things that we've talked about so many times, that's what you're doing, future pacing to build that strong future. But this is not where winners spend all their time either. Jen already said they don't spend it all in the past. I'm telling you spend some time here, but this isn't where they spend all their time. If you manifest for 6 months and nothing happens, you're looking in the windshield for too long. And just as Jen said, if history keeps repeating itself, those bad relationships, those bad financial decisions, that gaining the weight, then you're looking in the past for too long. So there's a balance between the future and the past. Now you need it. You got to have both. But there's a key to removing that barrier that you don't even know is there.
I like the 3 examples that you gave.
Okay.
The bad relationship. God, why do I keep attracting assholes? Well, because you just literally, with that statement, told your brain what to look for.
Yeah. And
isn't that wild, though?
It is wild.
That's how we plan our organization at our brick and mortar gyms.
Yep.
And our online company. Who do I want to attract?
Yeah, and that's what that future is, because that future windshield is what helps your unconscious mind. This is how you get around the human part. I mentioned that earlier, and I didn't finish that thought.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for. Tag team.
The windshield, or that future, is what helps your unconscious mind stop thinking of the past, all the bad shit that happened. Now, there's some good shit too, but that future is what makes you look forward to something exciting happening, and it breaks that that neurotransmitter of the past. That's why the windshield is so important. You just can't spend all the time there, but you got to have it. I said a strong present and a strong future. That is how you break that, is through that strong future.
I love it. I love it. Winners will spend the majority of their day, their week, their months, their years looking in the present.
Yep.
Presence. I don't know if you can hear what's going on through our mics. Our son is right above our office, and I think he's doing a construction project.
Presently.
Currently. Winners, so sorry if there was a loud bang. I think he took his boots off. Winners spend the majority of their day looking in the present. Present actions, running the race. Focusing on their cadence, focusing on their breath. Eyes forward, but running their race. Because the present is where the action is. Oh, I love that metaphor I just dropped. This is fucking gold. This is great. This is the day-to-day tactics. It's the new sweatshirt. It's bringing all my energy out. This is the hitting the macros. This is the victory hour. This is doing the work on the marketing machine. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is the cold water practice with my clients. I know you guys know what I'm saying when I say that. There's a reason we put your vision board with that practice to break that cycle quickly. It is with the uncomfortable actions that you get to visualize the future, that windshield. This is where 70% of the energy is. Winners spend 10% looking in the past to learn. Grab the learnings, jump forward, 20% looking in the future to motivate them for that vision to be fully in the present and do the work that it takes to get to the future with those lessons absorbed, traveling along the way.
Love it. I think it's important, as we laid this out here, there's something that came to mind. I'm going to steal this. Jen says this to a lot of people. You probably heard it on the podcast is get out of the weeds, but she just said spend 70% of the time in the weeds. So yeah, you got to get out of the day to day and look at the big picture. But what she means is the massively successful people that spend 70% of their time in the tactics, but they spend the right amount of time in the past and the present and the future. So they are in the weeds. They are doing those things. They are getting action, but they also spend time in the future and the past. Whereas I think a lot of people who are not successful just don't spend enough time in the future, that 20%. I think that's a key. So yes, spend time in the weeds doing the things, but don't forget about that future planning. When you follow this plan, the plan that we just laid out, really where you're tricking that unconscious mind by using future planning, but spending majority of your time in the present, you're going to spend the amount of time in it. It's inevitable. It's going to happen if you start to follow that. You will naturally look towards your past, but with this new effort of looking towards your future, you will inherently shift into progressive thoughts, things you want versus things you don't want. And you'll acknowledge that past, but you'll be looking towards the future. And it just gets you excited. And the most important part is if you haven't heard, you take action. You get into that 70%.
I love that. Let's wrap it up. First episode of the year. Nice work. Guys, I hope you found such value in today's episode. If you did, please share it with someone you think would also find value in that. Like it, share it, give us a 5-star review. That is the only way we can grow our little project. Make sure you subscribe to us if you are on YouTube. And if anything, y'all, we'll talk to you next time.